Hey everybody, Christina here from Creations with Christina, and today we're going to talk about stamp and die storage. So in my previous craft room video, you saw how I stored my stamps in my cube organizer that is a part of my actual workspace. And today I'm going to show you how I changed that up a little bit. I did switch them out of those baskets because it was becoming kind of difficult to balance the baskets and try to find the stamp sets and stuff that I wanted to work with. So I switched over to an old system that I was using before, and it's just the system that I switched was just how I'm storing them. I went back to using these Rubbermaid boxes that I picked up a while ago, a couple of years ago at Target. They're just these linen covered, real heavy duty cardboard boxes that have these little containers or little like flip pockets on the inside. And Target had them. Then I had found them at Big Lots for a couple of dollars cheaper than I picked up at Target. I do know that you can still purchase these. I'm not 100% sure if you can get them on Target's website or in the store, but I know that you can also get them from Amazon. I love these boxes. They have gone from die storage to just storage inside my Razcog cart to just pretty much everything. I've used them. They're pretty, well used and stay in great shape. I ended up switching my stamps and die storage back to this because it was just so much easier to have them out on my desktop, my workspace area, than it is to have them in a cubby of my cubes to kind of look through them and flip through them. So I will show you how I'm setting up and have been setting up the system. It's just my storage container has changed. So like I said, we're going to switch back over to these. I already went ahead and did all of my stamps. I'm getting ready to do some of my newer stamps that I just purchased, so I thought I would walk you through how I store my stamps and dies. So again, you'll need some kind of storage container. You'll want to use pockets. These are not the Avery L ones. These are actually pockets that I picked up on Amazon for $13 or $14. There's 200 of them, and they're just as good as the Avery L. The quality isn't too bad. It does tear a little bit in the corner, but it's not anything that I find to be that big of a deal, especially because I'm not in and out of them 100 times. I generally skip through a lot of my dies and my stamps, and I'm not using the same pockets over and over and over. And for how inexpensive they are, I'm not too worried about that. So anyway, so you're going to need your pockets. You're going to want to also get some inexpensive cardstock, or you can purchase, I believe Simon Says Stamp sells the pockets or the pages, papers, inserts, whatever you want to call them, that are already cut and ready to go into the Avery L pockets. For me, I just buy some inexpensive cardstock and I cut them down to the size I need. So you're going to need some cardstock. You're going to need your paper trimmer, of course. And then I also use my label maker for making my dividers. I use some patterned or solid cardstock for my actual dividers. And then I also use just plain old address labels. These are just Avery address labels, so you'll want to use those if you wish. Then for my actual dividers, I use my cardstock, my envelope punch board, as well as some thermal laminating pouches with my Mink machine or a laminator if you have that. And then the other last supply you'll need is magnetic sheets if you want to put your dies onto magnetic sheets to keep them from, kind of loose inside of your pockets. I use vent covers from my local hardware store, Lowe's or Home Depot. I forget which one it is. My husband picked them up for me. And they come in pretty big sheets, and I just cut them in the middle and then cut them down from there. I think I do them I think the sheets are 8 by 15, so I do them 4 by 5, and then I can get a whole bunch out of them. So I think there's 3 sheets in a package, so you can get a pretty good amount. You can also just cut them down to however much you need. I just go with sitting down, doing all of my magnetic sheets at one time, and cut them all at the same size, so I don't have to kind of guesswork at that. So, okay, let's go ahead and start putting some pockets together. A couple weeks ago when I was kind of fiddling around and finishing up some older stamp sets that I purchased and making my labels, I had already placed a label or placed an order from Simon Says Stamp and scrapbook.com. So I made those labels while I was at it, so they were all ready for when the order came. So I have those all set. This is for both my dies and my stamps. And what I do is I put the name of the stamp set and then the name of the company, and I do it in 2 different fonts. So the top one is the name of the stamp set and the bottom one is the company. And like I said, I just have them ready to go, so that, because I knew I wanted to do this video for you guys. So and I have to stop saying so. I'm saying so a lot today. Well, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and start by cutting down some cardstock. I haven't really cut down any cardstock. As a matter of fact, this is not my cheap cardstock, so I don't want to cut down a lot of it. It's actually my Nina 80-pound cardstock that I have, and I need to make a trip to Michael's or Walmart and buy some more cheap cardstock. So I will cut this down to 5 1/4 by 7. And I already did a couple of these just to get some ready so I can do these pockets early on and not wait until I actually get to Target or to Michael's or Walmart. And we're going to cut these down 7 and 7. I also use my big Fiskars trimmer whenever I'm doing this. I generally don't use this trimmer because I could do a couple sheets of cardstock at one time. Alright, so once I have those done, I'll go ahead and get a whole bunch of pockets ready and have them ready for when I get new stamp sets. And like I said, I just use the more inexpensive ones from Amazon. So I keep a whole bunch of these pockets already filled with some of the cardstock so that when I get new stamps and dies, I'm ready to go. So what I'm going to do is start off with my dies that I recently purchased. I have them all printed out onto my labels, and this is the Simon Says Stamp. Oop, that's not the right one. So Simon Says the Stamp Thanks. I apologize if you guys have a lot of background noise. I have the window open because it's really, really hot. And there's a little bit of storm coming through, so I'm trying to catch some of that beautiful breeze. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick these into my pocket. So sometimes I'll use a magnetic sheet and sometimes I won't. So this is the Thanks scallop from Simon Says Stamp. I just recently purchased this one. And since it's only one die, I won't put it on a magnetic sheet. I'll just throw it right inside the envelope, so that kind of saves me some space. Something like this Technique Tuesday Hearts Border, Hearts String die, I will put it onto the magnetic sheets because there's 2 pieces to it. Especially some of those die sets that have those little tiny pieces. It's connected together. Eventually I will take it apart. I'm just going to put it on the magnetic sheet. And then I have my pocket with my card. I'll get my label and stick that right onto the corner. I like just to put them on the side. I don't put it across the top. I generally look at this die itself to see the shape of it. And most of the time you can still see what it says anyway. So once I have that in there, I just go ahead and close it up. I'll put it aside. And then I still have one more die. I'm wrong, I have 2 more dies. So this is another one that has multiple pieces that right now are together, but I'm going to put it on the magnetic sheet. And then I'm going to grab my sticker for this one, which maybe I did not do yet. Stitch speech bubbles, I did. Put that right in the corner. It's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. And then we'll just close this up. And this is my last one, which is a single die. So I will just put this right into the pouch. Oops. Just turn it around so I can see it. So that's how I store my stamps and my dies. Stamp sets that come with both the stamps and the dies, if I purchase both of them, I'll put the stamp set on the front and then a magnetic sheet on the back with the coordinating dies. And at some point, I think I'm going to go through and put a little dot here just as a reminder that I have a die set. Because you want times I pull this out and go, oh, I wish I had the dies, and not even realize that the dies are right back there. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and purchase some colored dots, or maybe make my own and put it on here, or just maybe put a little swipe of color somewhere on here to say that there's a coordinating die set. All right, so once I go through and do all of my storage, which I still have more to do, but just to keep going here, I will then make dividers. Now, I don't make dividers all the time, just when absolutely necessary. So sometimes I'll hurry up and do a whole bunch of dividers at one time and have them ready. I take a piece of cardstock. I like to use a pattern or colored cardstock. It doesn't matter really the color. And I will cut it in half, 5 1/2. And then I will then trim it down to 8 inches. And then to actually create my divider, I'll use my envelope punch board, and I'll start off with the 3-inch, so I line it up at 3 inches, do my punch, and then I'll come over and put it just about in the center of the notch here and punch, and that creates this little notch at the top. And then I'll show you to create the file folder look itself. I use my trimmer and do a little line up using the wire I just took my little blade out to cut it down. So that's how I create my files. And then I'll go ahead and laminate them. Now I'm not going to laminate these right now because I have to drag my mink out. But you can also purchase, I think there's laminate pouches that you can purchase that are adhesive, and then you could just cover that over. Once I create these, I'll just leave a whole bunch of them blank, so if I start new die sets or new way of filing, I can label them at the top with the name of the stamp company or the category I'm filing it under. So that is how I make my file folders. I had a question about that when I was doing my room tour. If I was going to be doing this for the other system where I had it the long ways, I would just do the same thing, except for I would just make my file folder tab on the top. I have this box of dies, and then I have it laminated, the label inside the laminates. In the future, I will definitely leave it on the outside, because then if I change anything, I can then just peel that sticker off. In the very back, this is one of those boxes by Rubbermaid. In the very back, I keep my border dies, so I just have 2 of the little pouches open. Also helps keep it standing up, and it supports the weight of all these dies pretty well. So that is my storage system. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll link all of the things that I use for my system down below in the YouTube description and over my blog if you guys want to check it out. Alright everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye!